Hi, my name is Ben and I'm with Delivery Path. For those of you that are interested and my friends who have asked about what's going on with Bitcoin, that's what this video is about. Today is January 15th, and this morning I woke up and I read some news that Mike Hearn, one of the core developers on the Bitcoin development team, has resigned. And he posted on a website an article that explains his resignation and the reason why he's pulling out of Bitcoin. And I read that article this morning. You'll notice that if you look at the historical charts, that Bitcoin dropped from about, well, I don't know, $430 per Bitcoin all the way down to $385. And it's slowly trending up. Right now it's about $391. So the market, if you think that it's because of Mike Hearn's news, the market has been responding to this. There are those that say that the market price fluctuation has nothing to do with his information. And that could be the case, who knows? I personally think it does. And this is the reason why. I think that Mike Hearn was a voice of reason in the development team that manages the source code for Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency. And he saw a problem about a year ago and proposed that it get addressed and get fixed. And nothing got done, and kept pushing and kept pushing. And there was a big hubbub last summer about a new major change to Bitcoin that solved the problem that he was talking about. And there was a lot of establishment within the Bitcoin community that pushed back and said, no, we don't want any change. And it got really heated and a lot of name calling, and it was just kind of ugly and, to be honest, quite unprofessional. And I thought for a while that this debate would get settled and we'd come up with a resolution. The problem is, for those of you who don't know, is every 10 minutes a new block is issued on the Bitcoin network, on the blockchain. And that block contains a certain number of transactions within it. And those transactions are, I just bought that cup of coffee. I need that transaction to be confirmed on the network. Well, it's the miners globally that do that confirmation work. Well, it happens to be, just because of the cost of electricity and the cost of hardware and bandwidth connections, or maybe that's not so much, but the cost of electricity and the cost of hardware, about 95% of mining globally occurs in China. Okay, Chinese have figured out how to do it really well and efficiently, and it's highly competitive in China. It's not a lot of other miners are doing the work outside of China. Well, the Chinese didn't really want to change anything. Well, what was the proposed? Well, the change request was, hey guys, we're getting to a point where that block, every 10 minutes a new block is issued, it can only hold so many transactions within it. Which means that, and the research is on the article, we're only able to do about 2.5 transactions per second globally, which is pretty darn slow. Think of all the people internationally that want to buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin. That's not a very sustainable transaction per second amount. Competitively speaking, I think we're talking about 200 or 500 transactions per second for Visa or MasterCard. So Bitcoin just can't compete. If we want Bitcoin to go where we want it to go, Bitcoin needs to be modified to handle more transactions. So what do? You come up with some clever ways to modify the size of a block and the number of transactions that are stored within that block, so transactions get confirmed quickly. Right now, if I bring up blockchain.info, I can look at the number of transactions that are queued to be, I'm at blockchain.info, I'm on the home page, scroll down and click on the unconfirmed transactions link. As I speak right now, 7,403 transactions are waiting to be confirmed. Before, when I was prepping this video, that number was up to 12,000. There were 12,000 transactions that were waiting to be confirmed on the blockchain network. And this is what Mike Hearn was talking about. Whether you like the guy or you agree with how he communicated his information, his resignation was about this. He said, guys, there's a problem. I brought it up a year ago. I've been working on it for a while. There's a lot of people that don't want to change the technology, and it needs to change if we want to take Bitcoin where it needs to go. And I've worked on this for a while, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm going to go do something else. And he's right. And I've had this personally happen last week. I did a transaction with a friend. His transaction, he didn't get the Bitcoin for about 6 or 8 hours. It's unpredictable when that transaction is going to settle. So how can you talk about how great Bitcoin is when you don't know when you're going to get the money? I sent that person $10 and they didn't get it for, 6 hours, however long it was. Maybe they would have gotten it in 30 seconds, the verification and the first confirmation in 10 minutes, but they didn't get it for many, many hours. That's unacceptable when one of the talking points when I go out and talk about how great Bitcoin is, one of my major talking points is you get an instant verification that the money was sent and you get your confirmation in 10 minutes or less. How cool is that? You can't do that, Visa. Well, guess what? Visa seems like an alternative that is better than Bitcoin right now because I've got 7,663 transactions that are waiting to be confirmed. That's a pretty big deal. Now, a lot of people are attacking Mike Hearn because of his method. He's so outspoken and he does it this way and he does. I'm sorry you don't like his ideas or his valid points because he's wearing the wrong color tie today. But he's a smart guy. He's done a lot of great work on Bitcoin and has been committed for a long time. People are questioning his loyalty and all that. I just don't understand any of those arguments. The fact of the matter is the guy got involved in an experiment and said it was an experiment over and over again in the financial world. And said, we got a new idea, we got a way to solve some problems, we got some great solutions for it. I'm going to get involved as a core developer. I'm going to try to take this project along with the other core developers down a path that kind of syncs up with the original idea that Satoshi Nakamoto had come up with. Let's go ahead and solve these problems. Well, it got to a point where there were members of the community that didn't want solutions to those problems. So what are we doing? Personally, I say this is a great opportunity for an altcoin to step up. Altcoins, altcoins, they're, Litecoin and Dogecoin and all those other coins, they're play-around coins. Bitcoin's the only one because it's got the market cap. Hey, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology is going to be used by those individuals that see value in the functionality and the quality of the network that's being used. Bitcoin happens to be the one that has the largest market share. If Litecoin can pack 20,000 transactions into a block and run 200 transactions per second, I'm going to go with Litecoin. I'm going to buy my Litecoin. I'm going to store my value in Litecoin. And what do you know? Automatically, Litecoin's going to start to get market cap. And if I'm a technology company like Coinbase or BitPay or Bitstamp that runs exchanges, buys and sells, if I've built my technology well, I've abstracted my blockchain technology so I can easily switch out Bitcoin blockchain with Litecoin blockchain. And I'll just switch over and provide services to the cryptocurrency that has the largest market cap. Why not? I would. If I built an exchange, I would abstract the design of my system so that I could provide services to maybe the top 3 market cap blockchains that are available. You don't want to go down with the ship. You don't want to design your system in such a way where if something catastrophic happened to Bitcoin, but Litecoin is great, why would you design your system to go down with Bitcoin? I mean, yeah, Bitcoin was the first, but MySpace might have been the first too. How many people are on MySpace? Facebook seems to be dominating right now. Does that mean Facebook is going to be around forever? No. Facebook too is probably going to come along one day and take over. We have to keep that in mind as technologists as we adopt and build these new technologies. So one of the other arguments about the lack of change was there's an incentive for those Chinese miners that I was talking about a little while ago in my coffee-induced state here. There's an incentive for those Chinese miners to not change, to not embrace a larger block that can handle more transactions within it. And it happens to be tied to the average internet connection speed that they have. And it's a long story, and I think if you just Google Mike Hearn, and the article is, I think, on the website Medium. If you just Google it, he goes into much detail about that. But there's an economic incentive for those miners to not upgrade, which is really interesting because you've got an enterprise that works really hard, has a large investment. Each time I think a block is found, right now you make about $11,000. They work really hard to earn that $11,000 prize. 95% of the competitors are all in China. They don't want to make a change which might threaten that $11,000 prize that one of them collectively is going to earn. So, because there's a risk that they might lose out on that. But if they do change it, there's a risk that they might lose out on it. But if they don't change it, the capability of Bitcoin will only dwindle. It can't grow past a certain amount. You can't take whether you like Mike Hearn or not, or you like whoever or not, or you're involved in Reddit or not, the fact of the matter is, if I want to build a business around Bitcoin, I know going in that there's a threshold limitation for transaction volume on the network. Well, those miners are the ones that they're not involved in your business. They don't have any play or decision making in your business, but they themselves, because of their own economic incentive to keep the systems the way they are going to impact your ability to run your business. I'm not going to start my business then on Bitcoin. I'll do it on Litecoin, or I'll just go do something else. They themselves are the ones that are throttling the growth and the capabilities of what Bitcoin has to offer long term. So what's going to happen is either the price of Bitcoin is never going to go up because adoption isn't going to expand more users, more companies coming online, and the deflationary nature of Bitcoin causing the price pressure to go up. That's not going to happen. Why? Because the volume capacity of the network is throttled by those miners. So it's the miners that are greedy to make a buck. They don't want to change. It's going to hold back the thing from growing. The price is either going to stay the same or it's going to decline because people aren't going to on-ramp and come into the Bitcoin ecosphere, into this money sphere that we have. My philosophy now has changed on Bitcoin. If we can find a cryptocurrency, an altcoin, that has figured out how to solve the number of transactions per block problem, that's going to be the one, I think, that is going to start getting the market cap. And you're going to see companies moving over to that one and away from Bitcoin, unless Bitcoin solves this problem. And I think, Mike Hearn, I think you made a great decision. I think it was probably a tough decision. I wish you well, and best of luck to you. Read more about us at deliverypath.com.